what it means to know love, to truly love, it does involve, as always, knowing yourself and your humanity, as well as sharing it with you, others, and life. And that is why the emotional and mental awareness is what comes number one. Do you know the sense of self? Do you know how to be yourself with integrity, as our short discusses, which means that you're able to be honest and present basic moral principles of I treat you the way I want to be treated. I do not filter my mouth, but I do know I'm a member of society, so I will try to gauge how best to communicate and engage with you. This comes if you accept your own flaws with unconditional love, and then you accept others have the same, which is why unconditionally loving with flaws and imperfections is part of that which makes life easy, love easy, and is actually the foundation of love, because the oxytocin gene hormone, it is what is online, thank you Stephen Porges, when you have secure attachment and your social engagement system, which your host right here knows all about it. Okay, so my lovely path begins with Jesus and God. And now that I'm a person of faith, but I'm an outcast of those who use the word, I'm an outcast only for those who, for me, are not of faith. But then again, I can understand it. Okay, so Jesus to me taught how to forgive, how to know that you're my brother and sister, and how not to cast a stone, how not to judge a book by cover, and how to come back home and continue to be with my herd, my human herd. Humanity, when you overflow with it, thank you, Sadhguru, divinity descends. Divinity is not as if we need to compare ourselves to the entity. That actually makes a lot of sense that people will say that sounds egoic, yes. But there are also people who basically use the word God. They say to you that they're speaking the word of God and they're not. And they want to claim ownership of the Holy Spirit, of faith, of this word in and of itself, and of Jesus' path. At the same time, there are those who are dismantling it completely or want to. So the 5D collective is none of these, and love is none of that which is rigidity. Because again, secure attachment and social engagement, it's actively on when you are consistently the restorative embodiment self-aware person that you can be. That's where self-help, personal development, and a spiritual awakening journey, a true one, is a life of meaning and connection with the people beyond your solo self, so you don't lose people because you're ascending, awakening. That's a bullshit statement by the ones who think of themselves as also journey. Show yourself, I'm dying to meet you. It's a person who thinks that I have clairs and I'm more special than another person. Same thing goes for the bad therapists. There's bad therapists. So I'm a spiritual life coach lady, and there are those who are bad at this. And bad doesn't mean that they're bad in the way that the left mode brainer wants to use it. No, no one's inherently good or bad. No one's inherently good or evil. Smart human beings know this. The people who are functional adults. So knowing love, being yourself, integrity. Integrity is a list of, I'm going to be honest and tell you how I am. Not going to hide me, don't have to. That I may have a lifestyle that you do not enjoy, that you do not appreciate. I may be of a political party, whatever it is. You don't have to. You know what healthy self-worth looks like? It's like this. Now, I can also start to get passionate and defensive. And you might say, are you getting defensive? And I might say, no. And I say, you know what? I am, but I'm going to recalibrate because I don't need to. Why? Because I'm not an adolescent. I'm an emotionally mature, mentally mature person who wants to be more mature. Not, I don't want to do personal development. I want life now. I want laundry. Humans are broken. Everyone's evil. No, nobody's evil. Nobody's broken. And if somebody is evil, there's a scale that tells you why. They all need good therapy. Okay, so what it means to truly love is that you know, human and human, we're all people and nature. Love is also equanimity, because your social engagement system is actively online when you feel safe to present anything. So again, a moral code. The ones who want to pick at using their books, I don't need their books. I won't affect your life physically or emotionally or mentally in a way that will disrupt it. Number one. If you come to me with a low self-esteem attitude like a Cusco, I'm going to know that you're twisting things. That's okay. I can answer you, and I will actively engage with you, and then I will actively leave. The equanimous human being has no ill will, which actually Jesus taught me all about. Again, no casting a stone. I learned as a teenager because I was casting a stone because the grown-ups had taught me bad and good. Okay, so knowing yourself, I said, I'm so sorry, Jesus. I take it back. I know that I'm flawed and imperfect like anybody else. I didn't mean to cast stones. And I also said, hey, God, by the way, at a certain point, there's no evil this way. And if it ever comes, I know what to do, though. I have faith. So I know that if you choose that I have to end in death with some monster eating me alive, I don't know why, but that's the only thing that evil is and represents when I hear people talking about it. I don't see it. I see suffering. People who need therapy, yes, a lot of it. Yeah, but they don't want to go, Found it hard to believe the first 3 years of life. Yeah, you know what? I've heard it before. Sadhguru, emotion is the juice of life. When out of control, it becomes madness. Yes, we have people who think that they don't have emotions and they're ruled by them their first 3 years of life. And that's called they can be emotionally triggered. And when you don't know the sense of self, that's why you will not know what love is. And you will not know how to truly love because you don't know how to love yourself first. When instead you do know yourself and you are knowing of your humanity, so you overflow with compassion, you're using your prefrontal cortex. So now you have a window of welcome to your emotional plane, and that's why you share with life and with people and with other. And so on that note, we're going to have a little bit more with some 5D mystic stories. But for this one, what it means to truly love and know love is to be able and be yourself with integrity and flaws in your relationships. Within your life, the day to day, it's when you know how to unconsciously love that you're going to choose a path that not everybody will agree to. And you deal with that uncertainty, unexpected, and unwanted, our main modules of the Inner Growth Mindset program, from within with an open heart. And then you're going with your flow. So this is why you have self-awareness, accountability, and regulation. You don't have self-doubt. You say, I'm a sense of self. I have a solo self, a narrative self, relational self, core self. Thank you, Daniel Siegel. I have a love button, not a shame button. No shame, no blame, no fault, no revenge. Remember that there are people who have this resentment is typically associated with an initial anger response or some anger that hasn't been expressed. So there are people who can live in deep-seated resentment, but there are ways for them to shift out of it with good therapy, but with their self-awareness and understanding the specific neurobiological factors that fuel chronic grudge holding. This is from NICABM. Knowing how the limbic system can play off of someone else's spark or to spark resentment. So the limbic system can play off of someone else's to spark resentment. That's where I have met people. What I call them is a teenager with a 3-year-old who thinks that if they create some type of energetic, because their default mode network is seeking that, because their first 3 years of life, again, you will have adapted to your environment, hypervigilance, dissociation, clinical. Being in the low self-esteem, push-pull dynamics, those are not love. Those are all visceral in a way of not having a default mode network that is down-regulated. So when the eyes of a person who has trauma that's not resolved, they look at yours. If you have healthy self-worth and you are in restorative embodiment, this is where love begins to consistently be there. You'll feel it because you're always on. So when you're always on, it's because you consistently, no ill will, no resentment, no desire to enact anything that is of a small energy, but you will choose to be yourself with your mouth and speak your mind and speak all of it. And if someone doesn't like it, again, you say, okay, I guess we will not be interacting. The part about you being able to completely be yourself is what you will first of all demand of any relationship if you know love, because you'll know I love who I am. I don't change. There's a door. The part about when we have therapists who say that we change because with consciousness you expand, this is something you can elaborate on if you want. But the ones of us who are pure consciousness, and we've maintained pure consciousness and pure energy. This is from one of my courses with this lovely lady who taught me the word Purusha, pure consciousness, unconditional love, Prakriti, pure energy. Prakriti is that first 3 years of your life. So I got lucky because I have gooey, ooey, ooey. Others can get lucky by getting home to their true self and finding that sacred something that they got taken away from them that they would have never chosen to lose to begin with. That's their inner child. No first-year-old says, I want to be disorganized attachment. No 1-year-old says, I want DID. No 1-year-old says, I want to be seeking out some type of shitty relationship dynamic. No 3-year-old either. Okay, the attachment trauma. There's no evil in the body of people. They get psych educated. They're like, okay, I'm going to work with a therapist to get out of what is a hellhole. And it's going to burn because you have a pattern that is sensations, images, affects, meanings, and then behavior. But the sensations, the first 3 years, there's no words. It's feelings that you don't know what the hell is coming up. And that you have, if you have a story from 3D, 4D land, they blame Lucifer and they have all these words. There's nobody to blame, shame, fault, or revenge. There's psych education for the ones who want to get educated and then they want to truly love and they want to know that the emotions that become madness, we don't need to demonize or romanticize. They will need good therapy. Very straightforward. We can stay grounded. The ones who don't want to, they have the humans are broken, the humans are evil. They have the narrative of what is a body that's in a safety behavior. And so they're navigating from their brainstem and using their amygdala. We're going to leave it alone. That's narrow consciousness. It's also a left mode dominant person who's not doing left right mode bilateral integration. So they're not wanting to do emotions and bring them to a place of ease. Equanimity is ease because your rest and rejuvenate is consistently there. So you feel deeply and more deeply because there's no charges. No charges is something I can explain to you, but let me close us up. So again, resentment is typically associated with an initial anger response or some anger that hasn't been expressed. Shelley Harold, PhD. And you can address these hidden emotions that resentment most commonly masks. Yes, because every emotion, by the way, has something to share with you. Out of our 6 basic emotions, 1, we need them for survival, but anything that comes up, anger is about correction. Sadness is about connection. And fear is about wanting certainty. And we have secondary consciousness. So we will always seek to have certainty, which is why we're consistently dealing with uncertainty, unexpected, and unwanted. And here's with people, they're people. So twin flame, soulmate, or anyone from your oversoul. And some have twin flames, and we have more than one soulmate. Soulmates romantically as well as not. There's also those who are part of the family soul group and the colleague soul group. And then there's those who are coming in for a season and then a reason, okay? And you'll actually, as a divine feminine, but 5D mystics will know already, intuitively. That's why we don't need a spiritual awakening guide to our oversoul. What we can use is a person who can expand our ascension together. And if you're looking for that, again, that's where the 5D mystic is a very different story because we embrace our humanity, first of all, and returning home to your whole self. So the number one thing is, are you the grown-up version of you, the functional adult, or are you still a adaptive child who's harsh, unforgiving? Kelly Wilson, PhD. If a person is spending so much emotional capital on hating someone, there is a longing that is equally potent. That is how much that person's love might have meant to you. Left unchecked, resentment can swiftly take root and grow into chronic bitterness, anger, even hatred. In the course, this is NICBM again, they work through letting go of chronic grievances and deep-seated bitterness. What you should also note, though, is, for example, this. Janina Fisher, emotional neglect is usually the result of parents who are unavailable, critical, who believe the child should raise themselves. Traumatic neglect involves fear and threat. And so that's where when we have people who, for example, have borderline personality or narcissism, the ones who are healing, they're working with that maladaptive, adaptive child pattern behavior pattern. So to get away from the unhealthy self-soothing mechanisms of, for example, using anger when numbness and emptiness comes about, using drugs, alcohol, or also the fucking hypersexual activity. So there's different ways. Seeking novelty. Those are all not love. Again, love is our oxytocin gene hormone, the way that I'm sharing it with you all. Somebody can come tell you, of course, their opinion about love. But if we're breaking down how you feel love, it's when the oxytocin gene hormone is engaged and on, which is when you are in your secure attachment body. It's not when you're in a visceral response necessarily. That's a whole other biochemistry, which is why in the absence of being safe, a safe haven, secure base with a partner, it will not be involving love. And that's something that any person who is a healthy self-worth, man, woman, or they might they be. If you're reliant on your own sense of self-worth, so it means you know yourself, means you can be yourself with unconditional love, with flaws and imperfections. You have integrity. It is not a moral code that somebody has given you. It is, I will treat another person the way I want to be treated, which is with kindness, with ears and conversation. I will not be making my thoughts and emotions truths or facts above another. I'm having an exchange. This is called a differentiated self. That equals to me a decent human being who's not making up stories in their brain. So here where the borderline personality, what I was saying is they have this black and white thinking and split thinking, narcissism too. So when that happens though, in that moment, what comes up is complete truth because they are needing to harness, first of all, their own selves with the knowingness of their BPD lens, as lovely Dr. Daniel Fox calls it, or narcissist lens, so that they can say, okay, my lens is distorted. I have these patterns, these maladaptive child patterns that come in and they're intrusive. And I was triggered. Something triggered them. I will have recognized that following, and when I can cool down, okay, now that I know, but the knowing of the lens is important. So if somebody's walking around without knowing that they have BPD narcissism, in addition to those who walk around not knowing that they have had childhood trauma, so they are seeking consistently codependent type relationships. When you don't know your lens, that's why get your attachment category. That way you have a baseline, and you might want to look into all those other, and don't do the armchair diagnosing. You go to good therapy, a good therapist. If you need a network, I have plenty. Dr. Daniel Siegel is one. Dr. Daniel Fox you find online. He's an expert on personality disorders. He's bountiful with information. Dr. Dan does more than just one area, okay? And that's where Mindsight Institute is his website that you can take courses with. And then there's more. But long story short, the self lens one, truly loving, knowing love means you know yourself, and also you know that humans are not broken. There's not this evil thing that we don't have to suffer. Suffering is from the temporal junction, and also that people that come in and out of our life, again, as a 44-year-old woman, even before any attachment trauma information, and as a 5D mystic, what I can tell you is Jesus taught me everything about my moral code and God, and I didn't have to change 1 inch. I have consistently maintained uncontrolled love because we're all flawed and imperfect by treating people the way I want to be treated. And so I'm going to, with integrity, tell you what I think. Doesn't mean you're going to like it. I'm not afraid that you won't like me. I'm not in a relationship because I want you to like me based on me pretending. That's not a genuine relationship. I want a genuine relationship. So true love, in any case, is when you can say, I love me. I don't need you. You don't need me. I want to know I enjoy you. BPD lens, they don't know that they like the narcissist. If they don't have that knowingness of their lens, they will actively, the way that a lovely lady who is healing, her name is, I forget right now, but I've shared a short with her. And she's healing from BPD. I think she's in remission, and she's healing from narcissism. And she's with a sociopath boyfriend, and they are beautiful, by the way. You can go check them out if you're going to be kind and supportive. If you're going to be, which you are going to be. Otherwise, you won't be at IHP, because we're kind and supportive to all people, even the ones who are not healing. We'll be like, hey, your mannerisms. We can check it out. We can work it out always. As long as you have no physical weapon that we can notice. Anything else, I mean, what are you going to bring? A lie? What do you think a lie is going to do? Are you going to try and poke at us? You can't poke at healthy self-worth people, because we're like, oh, you're tickling me. Oh, stop it, stop it. That's what healthy self-worth is. It's, oh, you used another word. How fancy of you. So that's for another episode after this one. But what I was trying to get to is, she shares her healing journey, and she was talking about how the favorite person of BPD is like the narcissist. There you have a word for the narcissist, who also has a group of people that they will have around them. And in both cases, you don't want to have a dependency. Okay, so you getting out of dependent emotionally is what's going to free you up to love. And so she was just saying, it's not something to romanticize, not demonize. It's something to take care of. No person in your life is someone or something that you want to have you and what you feel about life dependent on. Okay, and so on that note, true love is in fact sharing with people, you don't need me, I don't need you, we enjoy each other. And I personally can tell you, no matter what pattern I've met, because there are patterns of all kinds, there's always been the capacity for people to support each other, to move into more when love is involved. That's why there's no saga or drama with the twin flame for the 5D mystics. We don't chase or run after each other. These are people. Twin flames as well. These are choice points. We choose how to work it out, and then we calibrate in an effort to enjoy each other as best works. And that's where interests, by the way, are what are going to have you come together, but so is consistent, contingent communication. If I and you enjoy each other so much, we're going to want to be around each other more, not less. That also means talk, not less. If there's that much silence between you and other people, then that is not an indication of you're not somebody. This is where, if you have healthy self-worth, you'll know this. It's not because of you being worthy or unworthy. It's something called a person, one, has a habit, their day-to-day routine, and their life. Two, if they don't enjoy you, so they're not waking up with that regularity of enjoyment. And so love, straightforward. You love yourself first. All people are bonuses. That's healthy self-worth. And then knowing your sense of self. And again, if there's a self that you're working with, obviously you're going to work with a good therapist, with your healthy self-worth friends and family members and the people who can be there for you as you, for example, begin to loosen the reins, whatever has happened. So if somebody is BPD or narcissist and they have things going on with their favorite person or however it is that wording, again, I don't know it, but we are here for each other, healing trauma one person at a time. Relationships, healthy self-worth relationships. The 5D collective is all about unconditionally loving with our flaws, with our imperfections. Integrity is we treat each other the way, for me, Jesus taught me, and God, you're humble. It's, again, nobody is superior and inferior. You don't lie about your emotions. If you do have resentment, if you do have envy, jealousy, spite, you don't say, oh, bad you, bad you. No, you process, witness, and say, okay, what are you telling me? This is why the inner growth mindset works only if you're self-aware, accountable, and want to regulate. That's why also self-help and spiritual awakening guidance for those who want to be true spirituality. The ones with the Elsa journey mantles, they are not true spirituality. They have clairs. They're enjoying their pseudo-alive life is what I'm going to tell you, and we'll talk about that in another episode. And that's where we're going to thank you so much for stopping by. If you're interested in one-to-one mentorship for your mysticism journey, if you're a person who is within spirituality, not only in the aspect of you have faith like any of us do, but you have things taking place at this time. So your clairs are expanding, your oversoul, and you do know I do want support. It's support to get you, one, to become the whole restorative embodiment self of you. Number one, that's the first thing. All of your child parts. And you, the restorative embodiment, enlightenment the human way. And so emotions, not laundry. And they come up and you process with your prefrontal cortex. You don't project. You don't shove back down. You don't use the shame, blame, fault, or revenge. You don't talk about humans as broken or use some random stereotype again and again and again. Love gets easier for those who truly love, not harder. Love is not about gender stereotypes. The masculine and feminine, we have each energy. The divine feminine is your body. The divine masculine is your mind. This is the way I break it down. Masculine is your left mode because it's digital and it's chit-chatter, the verbal part, and it limits, in fact. Even though the feminine, according to other stuff that I watch, but let me put that aside. Feminine, the right, so all that comes up is yours once you can handle yourself with equanimity, no ill will, so you will know whatever comes up. What do you want? Okay, yeah, that's fair and square. So when you're dealing with something you don't like, you don't be like, it's a truth. I don't like it, so I'm right. No, it's okay, I don't like it. I'm not going to have it lead the way. Likes and dislikes don't lead the way. For those of us who are 5D, we do Dharma. We do Christ consciousness. He talks and taught us about forgiveness. It's something called, you have zero charge, meaning neutrality and duality. Yes, it's called equanimity. It's called unflappability. It is the most amazing way to perceive deeply. You'll know the difference. I know a pretender when I see one. You know why? Wait for the neighbor to throw shit in their face. It's when you react instinctively that I'm going to know what you're made of. Not when you are talking to me or regurgitating to me. No, I'm going to notice the minute somebody treats you in a way that is unkind what you're made of. And that's for anyone who has faith from what they learned with Jesus and God, they will know this too. It will be, you didn't turn the other cheek, or you're pretending to turn the other cheek, but I can tell that there's resentment inside of you. Your energy is giving it away, a mile away. And so you'll know who's a person who's pretending and who's a person who is understanding, because they're walking a walk and talking a talk. And this is not a competition. It is an active choice. I feel emotions. I see them and I chit chat, and I have the inner growth capacity to expand my consciousness again and again and again, because I can be that Jacob personality with the self and others. So I bring to my truly loving relationship, hey, you know what? I can't be myself with you. I can't. This isn't going to work. I can't do anything the way that I want to express emotionally, mentally. It's not going to happen. This doesn't mean you're not worthy, I'm not worthy. No, it means that we're incompatible. Incompatibility means we're not finding a jive. If we can't jive, we can't tango. If we can't tango, we're not having fun. It's okay. It's sad. Of course it's sad, but it happens. What happens then? Secure connections. So you can move from secure attachment, desire relationship to secure connection. I have plenty of secure connections. The polyamory community, we know all about it. That's where we love more people, not less, and it's not unfaithful. Unfaithful, that word in and of itself is for a left motor who doesn't have their right motor on, and it's left and right. So to be continued. In the meantime, emotion. It is the juice of life, and love. So it's better than wine. When you find the one you've been looking for, you will be able to be yourself, always with integrity. That's your choice from the beginning. And then you'll be able to also do the I love you and you love me and we're a happy family. And that's because we will have all found that which is our 1-year-old. So if somebody had lost that sacred something, like the Billy Joel song, in the middle of the night, I've been walking through my sleep, or however he goes, in the river so wide, and he was looking for something he lost. A 1-year-old will find their home when they have found one safe haven here and secure base, so they can regulate themselves finally, their emotions and their thoughts. And then 2, they know, okay, I'm going to be accountable. My thoughts and emotions are not truths. I'm a differentiated whole self. I share a life of meaning and connection beyond the solo self, through spirituality. Okay, and self-aware, accountable, self-aware. Okay, I want to talk to you about our relationship, because it's easy for me to be me, and it's easy. I want it to be easy for you to be you, and I want us to unconditionally love and keep growing old together and stuff like that. So yeah, integrity, straightforward as it gets. When people become pachas, when they're Cuscos, it is what it is with Cuscos. We leave it alone. As Sadhguru presents, but for the Enlightenment Soul Age Group and for Restorative Embodiment, Self-Functional Adult Woman, what I have to say is we don't waste any time. The minute I got a Cusco, I'm not self-aware for you. You didn't notice what came out of your mouth. And you didn't notice my body language, which means your right mode, is not on. Because it's from our right mode of the brain, even though I'm pretty sure it's the opposite. Anyways, our eyes look at each other. When you have healthy self-worth and you're working with the left and right together, because you've been putting it into practice, the inner growth mindset, you're going to be able to notice body language with neutrality. The people who have trauma, trust breaks, trust charges, all that stuff, so they haven't resolved their trust breaks with humanity and life and love, they actively, like with borderline, for example, borderline and narcissism, I think, this is Dr. Daniel Fox, when they read body language and facial expressions, if it's negative, they're spot on. Otherwise, they're off. If they see neutral or positive, they're going to still think negative. We got a 3-year-old who is afraid of relationships. They have trauma charges. They're being reminded, they're 1-year-old. Scary, scary. I'm not safe, whatever it is, however it is. That's why the sense of self is, first of all, the step to who am I? Do I have secure attachment? Do I not? Do I have any of these lenses? And then how do I get out of those which are emotional triggers and mental interactions and things like that? And really, it's going to be by having healthy self-worth relationships, but also by having, obviously, self-awareness through a good therapist. So the other part is when people auto-diagnose, they're not always spot on. So you don't want to do that. You want to go to a good therapist to get yourself checked. And the good ones, EMDR, child parts work, somatics, they know any person is healable. Let me tell you that. And also, again, I have a network, so reach out. But the ones who know everything about anything and they just want to give you immediately the pathology, yeah. If they give you a pathology, that's not it. Because your behavior is something that they can explain to you because of all of those who have been researching for the past 30 plus years. Those human beings, they do a lot of work. That's why we're here today. That's why I can explain to you a lot of things that intuitively I already knew about love, which is I love you just the way you are. I accept you, and you don't have to work for love, and you can express all of your moodiness. I'll tell you if I don't like it. But again, I got lucky because I have a primary caregiver and a twin. And so I got determined with having bliss and grace, and I got Jesus and God. And so I got even that. And that definitely is what kept me as an adolescent on the track. No, I got an opportunity. I got the opportunity. Okay, so with all of these unkind, unfaithful, untruthful, all these cowardice human beings, what are you going to do? I'm not going to be a coward. I'm not going to be unkind. I'm not going to be unfaithful. I'm not going to turn around and become what is a person that doesn't represent what Jesus stands for, God taught me, and actually what humanity stands for. Why would I do to you what you're doing to me? Why would I close my heart when I want to love? This makes no sense. Why would I take away from my life and myself because you don't know how to behave according to what the grown-ups were teaching us as well? But you're a teenager, you're an adolescent. So I'm going to learn how to be a healthy, self-worth person like I was taught. And my 3-year-old will, and there you go. That's it. That's your first choice point. As an adolescent, we all have that because your societal system turns on. So you move from looking to your household for, even though some of us, we don't look for that. Asked my mom at the age of 3, you can't spank me, it's my body. She did. I said, I'm making my suitcase. She didn't let me go, but I made my suitcase. And that's, I know you laugh, but that's an indication. Biological father. I waited 3 times. He called me the wrong name. By the 3rd time, hey, I'm Maria. I didn't say it that way. I said it, I'm Maria. And that's actually how my mother also still teases me. So your 3-year-old never dies. Nope. Not in the household where you get to be yourself. And that's with all the flaws and imperfections that can come with any child. And then you grow up again. As a teenager, I didn't fear inadequacy. I'm like, you're all stupid and you're all unkind and you're all unfaithful and you all don't know how to be courageous because you all lie all the time. And I'm 4'9". And apparently all these kids on my school bus wanted to beat me up. Yeah, they knew not to because they knew. See the face? To this day, you try touching me, I'm going to go and find somebody who's going to come help me. That's what it means when you trust humanity. And we know it's not perfect, ladies, believe me. So we'll talk about that in our next episode. And men, I mean, I know that there are men out there. Again, I've met the empowered ones. We need more of you. So thank you for stopping by. We'll be back with more. Like, share, and subscribe if you're interested, again, in learning more about the masterclass and getting on the list, because it's going to be a limited number. I haven't decided the number just yet, but it's going to be intimate and something that will then be presented year after year, because the commitment is of those who want to pursue a journey. So be rest assured that it won't be a small commitment. I'm looking for those who are understanding that the journey to yourself is one that involves emotions and thoughts, and your habits and patterns, like mine, are in a consistent recalibration in different ways. But in primarily our life here, we do personal development, so life and your relationships, because I know how much people care about that romantic relationship. And while friendships, I'm going to say, have equal importance to me, but I know some people, they only, I shouldn't say it this way, but yes, I will say it this way, because see, it reminds me of my teenage boyfriend when I said, hey, don't think you have priority. I have all these friends and all these other people. I love you all equally. I got sat down, interrogated. It was almost like when they put a flashlight on you. You cannot love all people equally. I do. I just said it. No. I got questioned. And then finally, they got to where they wanted. Okay, it's the end of the world. We're all going to die. Who do you save? Um, my younger sister, because she lived less life. So I want her to live more life because it's a gift that God gave us. That's how I answered, because this is the thing. I got gifted life. So I was thinking, I need to check in with my younger sister, though, because she might say, you know what, Maria, here's how I feel about this equation. No, you save your life. You want to live life. I'm not joking right now. I need to ask her. I haven't asked her yet, but I love life. So I'm in for life. If you present to me, okay, physical torture life. Okay, look, I really don't want that. Like, I really don't. I'm gonna have to think about it though, because maybe I'll find a way to get out alive, and then I'll keep on living. So this is where I'm trying to share. Those of us who love life for consciousness, we're aware of being conscious, and I'm sharing it with my IHP community. I know you're gonna get it because I meet a lot of people. I want to go with the stars. Sadhguru, he has an episode on his podcast about it. Why would you go? You're going to go to the stars eventually. This is not the point of going to stars. So human love narrative, come on over. Because the only ones who are like, no, I want the star. There's a Zen master. You got laundry in your body. We got emotions, passion. I'm bicultural. I'm Neapolitan Italian. I love the Neapolitans. With our Vesuvius and Flagrant Fields, we're like every 24 hours could be my last. La Dolce Vita. It's easy. Ciao. Anybody watch? There's a British comedian, I think he is. What's his name? Eddie Izzard. The American Dream, I think it's called. Yeah, watch it if you haven't seen it. I love it. Every time he makes fun of the Italians because they're like a flag in the wind. They'll go wherever it blows, which is where the people who don't know their self, that's why they don't know how to be their self, with flaws, imperfections, or integrity. Oh, they'll come to you. You'll notice when they don't do unconditionally loving, let's talk about everything. All open in the air. Let's have it out. No hands, no hands. But yeah, so when he does the Italians, he says, Italians, you just, see them on the scooters and they're drinking their espresso and they're ciao. It's true. That's completely the South. Don't talk to me about the North. I'm biased. I admit it. And there's a reason for it. They call the Southerners very bad names. They treat them very badly. And I'm biased again. I'm not going to say it's a right thing. No, I'm going to say that I have people who keep me in check. I've made sure my advisors keep me in check on everything because you always need those who are good observers. And that means the people who unconditionally love you and they know that you serve a purpose, meaning they support you in what you're doing in life. I support people. So they're going to come say, okay, you want to support the Northerners too, Maria. So we are going to work it out. We'll just figure out how to have you engage with them. And my advisor, she has a name. And it's because she caught me red-handed as we were all joking around about this thing. And she's like, no, but wait a minute. It's like, okay, you're good. You keep me in check. And then I have some other men advisors. The men are really good too. They keep me in check for other reasons. So we keep each other in check. That's another part. True love, it's okay. Here's what health means. Physical, emotional, mental. All in. Good therapists and good sciences and good spirituality, and that would be all of them. They come together and they share with you how it is to be a restorative embodiment, self-aware human being in your prefrontal cortex. Again, tune back in for more. I'd love to do this, so get used to it, and thank you for stopping by.